What's going on, you guys? This is Aaron from Departures Capital Analysis, and welcome to this week's video. In this video, we're going to be profiling a company called Atai Life Sciences. Now, Atai Life Sciences is a psychedelic drug research company who is a direct competitor to MindMed. As you know, we've covered MindMed, we've covered Atai, we've covered Compass. I will be profiling all three of them. I have already profiled MindMed. Today it's Atai, and we will get to Compass. But anyways, guys, I want to go over, what they've got in their pipeline, strategic investors, and everything that we cover here, dive into the financials a little bit and take a closer look at the company. And then potentially in some later videos, we'll be able to compare Atai to MindMed to Compass. So I'm excited to talk about this company. I will say over the past couple of months, I have become increasingly more bullish in the psychedelic sector, primarily due to, the drop in valuations. I felt like hype was kind of getting a little bit too out of hand. Valuations didn't really make sense, and the long time frame, it's still going to be a very long time before these companies get FDA approvals unless we see something change, a fast track approval. That is possible. But in terms of getting, products to market, I still think we're potentially like a year or two away. But like I said, I am becoming increasingly more bullish on the psychedelic sector, and these three companies specifically, of course, Atai included, just because we've seen the stocks drop so much as opposed to where they were just a couple months ago. So we're going to take a look at the charts, all of that good stuff. Let's get straight into the video. Last but not least, of course, if you do support me, the channel, and all these videos that I produce here on Departures Capital Analysis. I do have 3 other channels, so feel free to check those out. Clips, our main channel, and Departures Capital Market News. If you do support me, kindly smash that like button. It means the world to me, especially because this is a brand new channel, along with hitting that subscribe button and the bell for notifications on future videos. Every Wednesday, we put out one video on this channel where I analyze a stock. Drop me some comments down below as well if you have anything to say. What would be awesome is if you guys could recommend more stocks, maybe for next week's video. Then I'll take a look and see, if I can cover that. So let's get into it, guys. Atai Life Sciences. It closed the day at $12.76, up 2.63%. It's got a market cap just shy of $2 billion US dollars. Currently trades on the Nasdaq under ticker symbol ATAI or Atai. Average daily volume of 315,000 shares traded. Today's volume was a little bit light, 52-week range of $12.12 all the way up to $22.91. So it's trading just off of its 52-week low, which I do like to see. I mean, at 22 bucks, it was worth almost $4 billion. So here we are at 12. It's definitely, the valuation has dropped substantially. So let's take a look, at the chart. We also are going to compare a few things like RSI. Simple, quick look at moving average, but I want to focus primarily on RSI. Now, this is not a heavy technical analysis video. It's more so taking a look at the grander picture, but focusing in on a few key points and really analyzing the stock and just giving you guys my opinion on what I think. So, here we have it, guys. It's trading at, a 33 RSI. Generally, 30 or below means it's very much oversold, and 70 or above generally means it's overbought. So we're trading right around 30, just over 30. So it does seem to be oversold, and it's trading substantially below its moving average of 15-20. So, looking at that, now could be a very interesting time to take a look at Atai Life Sciences. This is actually one on my buy list. I've just been buying up so much WonderFi recently. I feel like it's hard to say right now that the sector is hitting a very crucial support level, I personally think, especially on the charts for MindMed. And taking a look at the charts for Compass, it looks like the trend could be reversing. Not too sure if we'll see any more downside, but overall, I'd feel a lot better buying Atai here at 12 versus 19, 20. So I'm glad I waited. I've never bought Atai Life Sciences, but now I think around 12 bucks, this could be an interesting one to look at. So I want to go over their news really quickly. This is like the most recent piece of news they put out just a couple days ago. Before that, they didn't put out anything for a month, so it kind of makes sense that the stock dropped a little bit. People just get impatient. They don't know what's going on with the company. It happens all the time. I see whenever a company doesn't put out news for a month, even if the market's phenomenal, some investors just get impatient. So Atai Life Sciences announces the launch of Cyprotix to develop a precision psychiatric approach for treatment-resistant depression. Cyprotrix, a new platform company formed with Chimia LLC, a Duke University biotech spinout. Cyprotix is a precision psychiatry company focused on developing therapeutics for treatment-resistant depression and other mental health indications. Cyprotix takes a precision psychiatry approach, an emerging field that aims to treat disorders by factoring each patient's variability in genes, metabolism, environment, and lifestyle. Precision psychiatry is designed to allow physicians to prescribe treatments specifically targeted to the individual rather than relying on the traditional trial and error approach or trying add-on treatments such as antidepressants or antipsychotics in the quest to achieve a therapeutic benefit. So I like where they're going here. They're focusing on prescription, making things more efficient. But let's take a look at the company, their website, to get a little bit more information and a better understanding of what Atai is looking to achieve. So first, I want to read just this quick little paragraph about what they do to get a better understanding. Now, this is in their investor tab. I couldn't find their investor presentation. It's not there on their website. All they have is the recent news, the events, SEC filings. We'll look at the financials. So Atai Life Sciences is a clinical stage biopharmaceutical company aiming to transform the treatment of mental health disorders. We founded Atai in 2018 as a response to the significant unmet need and lack of innovation in the mental health treatment landscape, as well as the emergence of therapies that previously may have been overlooked or underused, including psychedelic compounds and digital therapeutics. So to build on this story, I want to show you guys how this company came into existence and who's involved in this, because I think this is very important. Because the people who invest in specific companies, I like to follow smart money. That's one thing that that's been part of my strategy is following smart money. And Peter Thiel is no fool. Like very successful with Palantir and his other companies. Let's build the story here. So US billionaire Peter Thiel partners with European tech fund. So Elevate has built a tech fund of 100 million from investors, including founders fund Peter Thiel. So why is this important? You'll get to know in just 2 seconds. So according to CNBC, Elevate has raised 100 million to invest in tech startups, 20 million of which came from Aperion, and 80 million from external investors such as Peter Thiel. The CEO of Atai Life Sciences is Christian Angermayer. Angermayer recently celebrated a successful return on a 2017 investment in UK startup Compass Pathways, which is focused on developing the use of an active ingredient in magic mushrooms for the treatment of depression. It was the first Nasdaq-listed psychedelic company to reach $1 billion valuation. His stake was worth $316 million, so he did very well on that. Thiel was also an investor in Compass Pathways, as well as Atai Life Sciences, a psychedelic biotech company founded by Angermayer. So back then, before they IPO'd, Atai closed a $125 million Series C financing round, and Bloomberg said the company was planning an IPO in 2021, which of course did happen. But it's good to get an idea of who's behind the company, how they came into existence, and we will see in their pipeline that right here, their strategic investment in Compass Pathways. That trial, I believe their phase 2 trial is coming to an end this quarter, so we're going to find out if and hopefully they progress to phase 3. I think we're going to find out sometime in December, so that's why I'm taking a very close look at this sector, at these stocks. Valuations are down substantially, but I think we could get some action later on to the fourth quarter. So I'm excited, guys. I have been buying up a little bit of MindMed. I still have some juggling and some things to do in the portfolio, but I do want to buy Atai, Compass, and MindMed. Just as I've kind of got a hunch that we're going to get some action here. The sector is downtrended for quite some time, and it's looking like these prices are looking pretty good. Now, once again, this is not financial advice. Please don't take it as that, and never buy or sell stocks because I have an opinion on a sector. If I'm bullish on a sector, I'm not always right, and I've been very wrong in the past. So always keep that in mind. So let's see what some of their compounds are here. So these are their actual programs, and they've got quite a number of programs going on here. Like they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. In terms of phase 2, Reception Neurosciences and Recognify Life Sciences, arketamine and RL-007 compound for the treatment of treatment-resistant depression and cognitive impairment associated with schizophrenia. So those are in phase 2. DMX-1002 that is ibogaine. So MindMed does have their 18MC for opioid use disorder. Once again, that's in phase 1. I believe the same goes for MindMed. That's from DME-RX IB. Then from GABA, we've got GRX 917 deuterated atifoxine. I hope I said that right. That's for generalized anxiety disorder. And now we have a number of compounds that are preclinical, not in clinical trials yet. We can see they've got DMT on here, MDMA. Some of these words, like, I can't even pronounce because I'm not a scientist, but we'll leave it at that and talk about, you know, what they're planning to or hoping to tackle or cure. And here's another one, noribogaine, so for opioid use disorder. So what are some of the, you know, other things that they're targeting? Mild traumatic brain disorder, mild traumatic brain injury, treatment-resistant depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, treatment-resistant depression, opioid use disorder, and of course, opioid use disorder. So they've got a broad pipeline of compounds, clinical trials. I'd say for the short term, I'd focus on their 3 phase 2s. And I really think that if Compass has a successful result when it comes to their phase 2 and they move to phase 3, that of course is going to move Atai's share price because they're, you know, it's their strategic investment. It's also going to show a lot of positive sentiment for the sector. So that would be like my one major short-term catalyst to take a look at and really watch this quarter. So now let's get into their financials to take a look and see, you know, everything sounds great here. They've got a massive pipeline. We're still a ways out in terms of FDA approvals, but do they have the cash to get there? Will they need to raise any more money? That's obviously the struggle when it comes to a biotech research startup like this, because they're not making revenue. The money has to come from somewhere. So of course, this is in the thousands US dollars. It's a Nasdaq listed stock. So December 31st, 2020, total current assets of 99 million or 99.5 million. And then we have current liabilities of 12.2 million, total liabilities of 16 million, and total assets of 111.5 million. So right there, we can see that in 2020, they were in a pretty good financial position. Now let's fast forward to June 30th, 2021. There we have 457.5 million in current assets with 505.9 million US dollars in assets. Meanwhile, their liabilities really haven't changed much. I mean, 14.1 million in current liabilities, 21 million in total liabilities. Their financial position, obviously after the IPO, they raised a ton of money. You know, it has increased substantially, which is great. I mean, I like to see that. Consolidated statement of operations. So let's take a look, you know, how they're doing in terms of cash burn. So of course, company gets bigger, more trials, it's going to cost them more. So 6 months ended June 30th. Loss of 9.5 million versus the 6 month ended June 30th of 2021. Loss of 57 million. So that's 6 months. Let's take a look at 3 months ended June 30th. So loss of 5.8 million in 2020 and a loss of 61 million in 2021. So that's loss from operations. So let's dive into these figures a little bit more. We can take a look at the net loss. 2020, 6 months, 1 million versus 49 million. You know, we were comparing loss from operations. I want to talk about the net loss. So like I said, 2020, 1 million versus 2021, 6 months ended June 30th, 49 million. 2020, 3 months ended June 30th, 16.9 million versus 2021. Net loss of 53.3 million. So it's pretty obvious that in the last, 3 months, that's when they realized the majority. Now, we don't have that much data, so it's hard to compare, but let's take a look and see loss from operations versus net loss and how we arrived at that figure, because their net loss is, less than their loss from operations. And digging deep, we see here there's a gain on dilution of equity method investment. That's a gain of 16.9 million. So through dilution, they were able to realize a gain. And the majority of their expenses do come from general and administrative, and then of course research and development. So research and development is actually, less than half of their general and administrative costs, which is pretty interesting. The only other gain we have here is a gain on consolidation of a variable interest entity. So anyways, guys, net loss 50 million. Let's just say that stays the same. They've got roughly 505 million in total assets. So I think they're in a pretty good position. And like I said, we'll see what they do with that cash moving forward. For a company with a market cap of 1.9 billion, I think they're in a pretty decent financial position. Doesn't look like they're going to need to go to the market for money at any time soon, unless they decide to make some acquisitions, which is definitely not off the table. MindMed's made some acquisitions, but yeah, that's my opinion. Of course, feel free to offer your comments below. Now we're also going to take a look at the trends, because I think social sentiment very important as well. Some other things to research that I wasn't able to find is insider ownership, institutional ownership. We might be able to find that. Let's just check one more time. Yahoo Finance, gotta love this site. So here we go. 9.67% of shares held by insiders. This is a major breakdown. 27.09% of shares held by institutions. Percentage of the float held by institutions 29.99%, and number of institutions holding shares 56. So here we can see Morgan Stanley, Citadel, Millennium Management. So we can see who's holding this. Top mutual fund holders, Morgan Stanley. That to me, 10% ownership, almost 10% held by insiders. That's like $200 million. That's not too bad. And then 27% of shares held by institutions. We're almost at 40%. So that definitely says something to me in a positive way. So now let's take a quick look at the Google Trends, and that's it for this video. So in terms of the stock, obviously back there in June, the whole sector had its hype. They had their IPO, all of that good stuff, and definitely the interest has dwindled, but this chart looks pretty good, and to be honest, it looks right for a rally. So like I said, end of Q4, I'm excited for this sector. Now that was for Atai stock. This is for Atai Life Sciences. The chart looks a little bit worse. Of course, the biggest interest is coming from Canada once again. The last thing I want to look at is psychedelic stocks. Now this is one thing that looks pretty good. So Google, of course, their job is to analyze data, and they're predicting a spike here in interest in psychedelic stocks. So we'll see what happens, guys. That's my honest opinion on Atai Life Sciences. What do I like about them? Their diverse pipeline, the fact that they've got some pretty awesome big names like Peter Thiel, Christian Angermeyer. I think following smart money is very important. I like the valuations, down substantially from their IPO, trading just above 52-week highs, with some catalysts on the horizon. Like I said, Compass, that trial will end probably, I think it's this quarter, so definitely something to look out for. Now, risks to this whole thing, government regulation, the negative stigma that this sector can carry, although I think that it's becoming much better, and of course, a failed trial. Like, nothing is for sure, and that's one thing that Kevin Oleary always said. It's a binary outcome. It's either a pass or fail. Lots of money, lose lots of money. Now, in Atai's case, they've got a very diverse pipeline, so they can afford to have, let's say, one trial that doesn't make it. That's why they have multiple trials. So anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts. That's my honest opinion. We'll see what happens, guys. That's it for the video. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in our next video. If you like these videos, kindly hit that subscribe button and the bell for notifications. Drop us a comment down below. We'd love to hear from you. And finally, always remember, Departures Capital is for information, education, and entertainment purposes only. Don't buy or sell a stock because you heard it on here. Buy or sell a stock because you've done your research, you've done your thorough due diligence, and you're making your own personal investment decisions for yourself. This video is not financial advice. Furthermore, this video may or may not have been sponsored by the companies that we've profiled within this video, and we may or may not own shares of any of the profiled companies in this video. If you want to know the full disclosure details, check the description down below along with thoroughly reading our disclaimer. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I look forward to seeing you in our next video.